All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to dive right into one of the coolest parts of the Japanese language, its writing system. We're going to crack the code on the two phonetic alphabets that are the key to pretty much everything, so let's get right to it. Okay, so the first thing that blows most people's minds is this question, right? Three totally different writing systems, all being used together in the same sentence. How does that even work? It sounds super complicated, but trust me, by the end of this, it's all gonna click. I promise. So here they are, the big three: Hiragana, Katakana, and Kanji. Now, kanji are a whole other story. They're the characters that represent entire ideas. But hiragana and katakana, they're phonetic alphabets, a lot like the English one. Each character stands for a single sound, and to make things really clear, we're going to zoom in on just these two today, because they are the foundation. All right, first up, hiragana. I always like to think of this as the gentle script. It's kind of the native heart and soul of Japanese writing. This is, without a doubt, where your journey begins. It's the bedrock of everything. So what exactly is its job? Well, think of hiragana as the real workhorse of the language. It does all the heavy lifting. It's used for native Japanese words, for all the little grammar particles, the glue that holds sentences together, and for the endings of verbs and adjectives. It's the very first thing Japanese kids learn, which is why you see it all over children's books. And you can actually see its personality just by looking at it. The characters themselves tell you what they're all about. Just look at them. They're all soft, they're full of curves, and they have this beautiful, flowing feel to them, almost like really elegant handwriting. And here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We've got the word sakura, which means cherry blossom. You can't get much more Japanese than that. See how the characters sa, ku, and ra just sort of flow into each other. That is classic hiragana right there. Okay, so that's hiragana. Now let's switch gears and talk about its sibling, katakana. And if hiragana is the gentle script, then katakana is its complete opposite. This is the sharp script. So, what's katakana's job? Well, its main role is to handle anything that's, well, not originally Japanese. We're talking about words borrowed from other languages, like English, names that aren't Japanese, brand names, and even the awesome sound effects you see in manga, like boom or crash. And you guessed it, just like hiragana, its look totally matches its job. Take a look. These characters are sharp. They're made of straight lines, hard angles, and boxy corners. They have this really modern, bold feel, which makes them pop right off the page. This is the classic example because it's just so perfect. The word coffee, obviously, is not a native Japanese word, so it gets written in katakana. Ko-hi. You can immediately see those sharp, straight lines we were just talking about. There's no way you'd mistake that for the soft curves of sakura, right? All right, get ready for the big aha moment. This is where it all comes together. Look at this table. On the left, you see hiragana. On the right, katakana. Now listen closely. The hiragana character, ah, is pronounced ah. The katakana character, ah, is pronounced also ah. They sound exactly the same. The only thing that changes is how they look and what job they're doing. So you might be thinking, okay, so are they used in separate books or something? Nope. In real-life Japanese, you see these scripts mixed together all the time, even in the very same sentence. For instance, a sentence might be humming along in hiragana, and then bam, right in the middle, you get a katakana word like coffee. It's completely normal. Okay, so we know what they are, we know when to use them, but how do you actually write them so they look right? Well, it all comes down to this thing called stroke order. And trust me, it's way simpler than it sounds. In fact, you can basically boil it down to 4 super simple rules. First, you always go from top to bottom, and you go from left to right. Easy enough, right? Then, if you've got lines that cross, you always draw the horizontal ones before the vertical ones. And last, whenever possible, you try to make it one continuous stroke. That's it. That's the secret to making the characters look balanced and natural. Let's actually watch this happen with the hiragana for ka. So first, we do that initial horizontal stroke on the left. Then we draw the main vertical line that comes down and through it. And to finish it off, that little tick mark on the side. See that flow? Top to bottom, left to right. It just makes sense. So, are you feeling fired up to give this a try? Awesome. Let's finish this up by giving you a super clear, actionable roadmap so you know exactly how to get started on your journey. Now, there's a reason everyone recommends learning in this exact order, so don't skip these steps. Step 1, and this is non-negotiable, master hiragana. It is the absolute foundation. Once you're solid with that, then you can move on to katakana. And only after you're comfortable with both of those should you even think about tackling kanji. And for the actual practice part, here's a dead simple 3-step method that works like a charm. First, just imitate a perfect example. Trace it, copy it, really get a feel for it. Next, try writing it while just glancing back at the sample every now and then. And for the final step, put the sample away and try writing it purely from memory. Then, and this is the key, compare what you did to the real thing. This little cycle builds that muscle memory like crazy. And that's really the core of it. The 2 fundamental scripts that are your key to unlocking Japanese. You've got hiragana, the soft, the native, the flowing one, and you've got katakana, the sharp, the foreign, the angular one. They sound the same, but their look and their jobs are worlds apart. So the big question for you is, which script are you going to master first?